Everyone. We moved demos to general. I was about to head to the stage all by my lonesome.
Yeah, I did the same.
We can be on the stage if you prefer that. Should we migrate over there?
Yeah, I was going to show the actual Kiki screen in my demo, but you guys could take my word on it.
We can use.
The sharing's better here, right?
It's better here.
Yeah, I can do video now. Okay, yeah, I can do video. I'm good.
Let's try it here and see how it works out. We can switch again next time if it's not great.
Good idea.
I hope everyone's week's going well. Give it just another minute or two here before we get rolling. Let me cut the lo-fi down. Cool. So, welcome everyone. These are our roughly bi-weekly engineering demos. Time for us to show progress, raise ideas for patterns, discuss ideas, anything around engineering, both from the core work stream and outside of it from any of our contributors is very welcome. So we're sort of in a transitionary period where we've been doing a lot of planning and early development on things like Cosmos and moving towards integrating more EVM-based DeFi features. So we have sort of a thin roster this time, but we got a couple of really exciting demos coming up. First, we'll have Theobald show us some of those juicy vaults he's been working on.
Yeah. So today I'm going to show you guys the latest functionality that just went live in prod, and it has to do with some of the new urn vaults that we got in there. So a couple months ago we had implemented urn functionality and we had this nice urn page, but we didn't have a whole lot of vaults in there, and the reason for that was our underlying token list from CoinGecko didn't support many of the underlying tokens of the urn vaults. A lot of the tokens are liquidity pool tokens, and so they're not exactly the most common. But the urn SDK, which has been under development for the last few months, has gotten a lot more functionality in it, and we now have the ability to go out and get those tokens, which allows us to bring in a lot more juicy vaults. And we have some really good APYs here, up to 30% on some of these vaults. And so if you were to come in here and get started, you get this nice modal. And if I had that underlying token, I could add it to the vault, and it would go through our ShapeShift router, and we get affiliate revenue for it. So in addition to all these vaults that are in here, we also have a lot an extended token list. So if I were to do, let's do MIM. MIM is a stable token with the United States dollar, And so we have the curved pool tokens. We have this one, which is the pool token here, which is just a stable coin. And then you can see the earning opportunities on that token, which I think is the highest earning vault at the moment. So if I were to have that pool token here, which we don't have the ability yet to get through the website, through our website, but if you were to get that elsewhere, you could send it over to your wallet and then use that to join the vault, put it into the vault and earn, up to 30% APY on that. So we now have the extended vault list here, and we have a lot more tokens to that we support in the platform or in the website now.
That's awesome, Theo.
Yeah.
What is it that prevents us? It's just obtaining that MIM token that we don't have, or there's some.
So if you have MIM or UST, you can provide liquidity to a pool, and that would give you the MIM pool token. Let me share it back here. We don't have the ability currently to provide to the liquidity pool. So you would have to go perhaps to curve.finance in order to get the underlying token here. Yeah.
To get the staking token, the token you want to stake.
Exactly. Yeah. To the token that you want to put into the vault. You'll have to get that, which is the same user experience that Yearn.finance has. They don't provide the ability to get that underlying token, but as long as you have it, you can provide it to a vault. And
why is that? Why would they not have it?
I think they just don't have the liquidity providing functionality. I think as we move towards parity with our legacy systems, we should have that functionality in the future.
Yeah. Sounds like an opportunity.
Yeah. And so we have this really cool UI, which I personally think beats the Yearn Finance UI. If there's any Yearn people in here, I'm just not trying to be mean, but I think we have a really good UX for it.
Fox is the best.
Yeah. Say it. Fox is the best. So yeah.
Awesome. It's really big, and thank you for tackling that so quickly.
Yeah.
It was a big priority for us to get all those added, and having all the extra tokens is great too. Do you know how many total tokens are supported now?
Total tokens, we have about 5,900 plus, not quite 6,000. So individual tokens, including Bitcoin, and about 5,900 plus tokens are supported.
So that's pretty much everything from CoinGecko plus the Yearn SDK, which reaches out to a bunch of stuff.
And yep. So the Yearn SDK has Ironbake tokens, Zapper protocol tokens, and the underlying vault tokens. I was able to grab all three of those and get them in there.
So I'm curious.
Go for it.
I'm curious what the pattern is to add future assets. Is it tracking them down and putting them in a Git repo somewhere, or what does it look like?
We have a service in lib called Asset Service, and what we do is these are static assets, so we can grab them offline and we generate JSON out of that. So it's as long as we update that JSON as new tokens come into like Zapper protocol or the Yearn vaults, that data is not really changing. So it's really just sitting in a JSON file that our app reads from. And then dynamically we go out and get market data for that, so like the pricing data.
Cool.
So we have the pattern now to get assets from any asset list and to have multiple price providers. So we can add CoinMarketCap or whatever other pricing services we want and start to track those assets too in a way that is like clean and repeatable.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's structured in a way that it's easy to add a new service, market service So if we were to get like a API key for CoinMarketCap, we could theoretically plug that in.
Sweet. Huge. Anybody got questions or comments for Theo?
Nice work, Theo. I think it looks great and a huge improvement.
Yeah, and one thing actually I learned yesterday, which beats the Yearn Finance UX, is once you approve, like for example, DAI. Once you approve DAI on our platform, you're approved to the router contract, so that when a new vault comes out, you don't have to approve again. You're already approved for it. So because you're approving against our router and not the vault itself, once a new vault comes out, our router picks it up and you're already approved for it. So saving money there too.
Sweet. Cool. Well,
Yeah.
thank you very much, Theobald.
Yeah.
Cool. Next up, Highlander is going to show us some wallet bridgey goodness with Electron he's been working on. Take it away.
Hey guys. So I'm Highlander. I've been working on this Kiki client with Pastagos since near the end of dissolving ShapeShift. I'm going to go over two concepts here today. One is the Kiki client, what it is, and the Kiki bridge, and what it is, and demonstrate using the bridge. So let's start off. The Kiki client is a fork of V2. So it is V2. It is, as features and new things come out for V2, anything that goes into main will get pulled down into this fork. I'm maintaining a small set of changes that add some features to it. So if you want to see it, it's a live fork on the Kiki org right now. It's just an Electron app that you could download and run. This is a bit older. It doesn't have the features that I'm showing now, but I welcome any contributions or people playing around with it. So this is the running app. It'll look identical to being on app.shapeshift. There's just a few things that will be different. If you go into switch wallet providers, you notice that there's only two wallets. There's the Keep Key, and if you don't have a Keep Key yet, you can load a mnemonic. What's going on, the main difference here is this side piece is showing that we're not using the web USB driver in the app. We are swapped out with a library in HD wallet called TCP transport. So behind the scenes, there's a main process that is talking to the Keep Key directly, and anything that goes to this device, we're actually sending packets over this API. So this is the client, and there's one little piece in here that you'll see that's different. If you go in here, there is the developer tools. So if you click on developer tools, it should open another window. But this is an API that developers can use to integrate and talk to the Kiki client. The idea is this is very similar to people bringing in a window object and talking to Metamask. Any application running on a computer can talk to this API, and how to talk to this API is documented here, and it's all typed out. I've been working on integrations at ShapeShift that was most of my time at ShapeShift. And we've had to work with a lot of coins and a lot of wallets and a lot of services. And at the beginning, it was all very hectic and crazy, and everybody's API was different. Some was RESTful, some are RPCs. I found that OpenAPI is probably one of the most powerful ways to document services and code really in the space. So I've always been a huge fan of OpenAPI. And my goal is to make it extremely easy for anybody to integrate with KeepKey and to add KeepKey into their product or service, and not have to deal with web USB or clients or any of the technicalities of other wallets. So when I talk about the concept of a bridge, the bridge is these two pieces, these two calls. and we can go ahead and demonstrate using the bridge. This is beta.shapeshift, so this is just legacy shapeshift, and we'll go ahead and connect the wallet. And right here, we have try the keep key bridge. So if you click on that, you'll notice that there's payloads being sent behind the scenes to the keep key bridge directly. And what's important to note is we are both using the keep key in this app. Like, this app is fully functional. You can send and receive and talk to the keep key. And you're doing it at the same time connected to beta.shapeshift.com. So this means there's no more claim device, remove window, find what tab has claimed the keep key, and all that UX is all gone now. Any application that wants to talk to the keep key can all talk to the bridge, and the bridge can do all the handling between what application is talking to what. The bridge is going to label what you're talking to and what that pair process is. I've been working with Mr. Nerdhair, and we're really going to get it locked down so that you can approve any application that you want to pair with the keep key client. And we're actually going to have API keys and stuff to really lock that down, so that only applications that you manually approve and save in the local database of the keep key client can talk to it. And so that's the bridge. We'll go into, as an integrator, how can I add and integrate and talk to the keep key client? So right here in the demo, this Open API Swagger documentation has live endpoints. So we can go ahead and just try it out. And we're going to go ahead and get the status of the bridge, execute that. And we can see that the bridge is online. We can see that a user is paired. And we have state and status codes for the keep key. So if there was a pin modal or if it was locked or something like that, then you would be able to read that. Any application that wants to pair, there's a pairing process that will be documented and brought through. And user is how you're going to get all your pub key and information on the wallet itself. And anytime you want to sign a transaction, you can hit the sign. So what I have here is a really light SDK that I threw together. The idea is these will write clients in multiple programming languages. So one of the big disadvantages of integrating MetaMask and a lot of these wallets is it's all a very JavaScript world. There's a lot of applications out there that need to talk to other services. One good example of that is like the Cosmos SDK that's written in Go. If you were, say, a game engine written in Unity, you would want a C# engine. If you were a native desktop app like Slack or Discord or a lot of these wallets or a lot of these services out there, they actually can't use MetaMask because they don't have a window object. So generally what they would do is like pull up a brand new browser window, do your stuff in there, and then come back. So this wallet client, I have a couple tests in here. So the actual client itself is very lightweight. All we're doing is bringing in the Swagger doc, and we're using an open API client that documents all the forms and functions of this API that's all spec'd out in the Swagger JSON. And then we're simply adding an SDK key that will help us lock down the pairing with these devices. So if we want to get an address, we're going to filter by the ETH address. We're going to add the SDK key. We're going to initialize the API. We're going to grab the user object, and then we're going to filter out for the ETH address. So we'll go ahead and just run that. And there we have my ETH address for the keep key client. Something pretty interesting is this bridge is caching all these balances and addresses and pieces. Generally, if you load MetaMask or if you load any other wallet, you have to talk to a server, and there's a round trip there. And I think at the bare minimum, you're going to get that to like 200 milliseconds. If you're talking to the bridge, you're talking to something on localhost. So most of these responses, you can see we're talking 8 milliseconds. It's very, very fast. So we can get the address. We'll go ahead and filter by the balance. And the fun part is this is a sample transaction. This is a Thor chain swap. So this is an Ethereum transaction. We have the router in here. You can see that it's not halted. So, and this is the HD wallet payload. So this is what the key is going to need to actually sign. And all we're doing is going to the instance, sending a post request, and then sending this invocation to the wallet. So we'll go ahead and do this post. And notice that the key client was behind this window, and now it's not. It's on top of the world. And if this window was minimized, this would open up. So if you were on some website, or if you were in a video game, or if you were in Discord, when it comes to sign a transaction, this will always come to the front of your screen. And this application will always be running in the background of your computer. So when you first start up your computer, there's an auto launch. And as long as you have a key plugged into your computer, you'll be able to sign. If you don't have your key plugged in, before this window will show up, it'll say, hey, please connect your key to sign this transaction. Or if you're using a software wallet, it'll just work. It'll already be loaded. So this is a work in progress, but this is a sign modal that I brought into the V2 app. The idea is this sign process, we're going to integrate a service called MyCrypto's Scam Database. And we're going to be hosting. I really like what they've been doing. Unfortunately, they're Ethereum specific. So I'm hoping to kind of be a part of their scam database process, let people report scams directly through the app, and kind of expand this into other chains and other blockchains, and really lock down and have, there's two concepts. There's blacklisting known scams. So if some user was trying to say they were on Uniswap, or if they're on a phishing site, so they think they're on Uniswap and they're not really on Uniswap, this will show up with a big red that, hey, this contract address that you're trying to interact with is a known reported scam, and then we'll have information on where it was reported and the details of it, and that kind of stuff will just pop up here. But what we're popping up right now is a Thor chain swap. So we are going from ETH to Bish right now. So we have a concept of protocol. So there'd be different transaction types. Some are transfers, some are swaps, some might be staking. All those are spec'd out in specific protocols, and every protocol has its own way to render in the transaction modal. So unfortunately, I can't share my screen because there's more than 25 users in here. But if I was, or I would share in my video, if I was, after I click sign on my device, it's showing me that this is a Thor chain transaction, and it's showing me the router address. And notice that there was a event here. There was events that we can catch. So the next phase of this is to actually walk the user through all the individual pages on the key of what you're doing and why, and provide documentation and links to find more specifics of what you're actually approving on the device. The whole goal of what we're doing here at Kiki is making it very easy for a user to know what you're signing. And if you're doing things like a Thor chain swap, that is a trusted service, that this requires a higher level of validation than just sending an address to an address that you know. So the idea is for us to have a whitelist of all the services that Kiki itself has reviewed. This will include all the services that are on Ethereum that MyCrypto has reviewed, and they have a really large team, and this database is really great. I'm really excited for what they're doing there. But yeah, so I'll go ahead and click through all the pieces. It's worth mentioning that you can't see it here. I made a post request, but notice I haven't got a response yet. So this post request is actually open, and it's going to stay open until the key is finished signing. Clicking through the windows. And there, we have a transaction. And notice that this is no longer on top. So we will be broadcasting and having animations of when it confirms and links to that. But the second that it's signed, you're free to go back to your application. And if you want to quit, it's no longer locked and taking up your screen. So this is a post request that waits for user input. And when the user finishes, we get the transaction ID. And we can go ahead and just take this, go to Ethereum push TX. Oh, I've already broadcasted this transaction because it's hard coded. But yeah, that's a live transaction ready for users to broadcast, and we have the transaction ID before it's broadcasted. So yeah, this is the bare minimum, simplest way to interact with the Keep Key. And our goal is to anybody that wants to integrate can go off some of these SDKs and really make their lives easier. And yeah, that's all I got for today. Is there any questions?
Man, that was awesome, Highlander. I'm impressed as I was when you showed me the other day. Building a wallet and just having a local web service to interact with certainly makes it a lot more accessible to developers that maybe don't have all the low-level wallet experience that takes so much time to gain and to work through. I noticed you have Minerium. I didn't know you were a Minerium holder too.
Every once in a while, I have like 100 hex that show up as valued at like $300,000 or something. So every once in a while, it just pops up. But yeah, so if you were to look at, say, someone integrating a MetaMask, there's like two concepts in a MetaMask integration. One is the Web3 provider, which is similar to like Unchained. It's all the blockchain data. Most services are built on Web3 providers, and they're very Ethereum specific or Ethereum and clone. So that is probably one of the largest hurdles to getting people to integrate multi-chain wallets, is to get people out of this Web3 paradigm. And it's usually two things. It's that Web3 provider, and it's a window object that they're interacting with. And that window object is always JavaScript, and it's always very specific to browsers. So the real crypto universe is really locked into these web browsers, and web browsers are just not a very safe place to be. It's very easy to swap out a MetaMask if a user clicks on the wrong thing, and now they're using a wallet that can be malicious. When it's detached like this, you're essentially shipping an entire web browser with your application. So an Electron app is rather heavy, and there's a lot of criticisms about that. But you'll notice that some of the most powerful applications that you use are all Electron. Specifically, what we're on right now, Discord. So Electron is very powerful, where it's very hard for someone to swap out Discords underneath you. If you click on the wrong link, your desktop is going to say, hey, this isn't signed Discord. And at the very worst, you're going to have two Discords installed on your system, and you're going to realize what's going on. So there's a lot of security advantages, and I'm hoping to really make this integration process the easiest way to integrate a wallet into your application, period. And then we can really get some more people using KeepKey. And yeah.
Awesome. You showed a user, or had the concept of a user there at some point. That's like a container for a collection of keys.
So
Is that what a user is?
A user object is a rather large object, and I have two concepts. We have an array of public keys, and these public keys are your actual addresses itself. So an xpub would be a public key, or we also track the master addresses in here. And then we also have the concept of a balance. So we have an array of balances, and a balance will have all the specific tokens. So this is not normalized with all the capes yet. That's definitely on the roadmap to get this user object to match all the assets that we're doing with capes. But this user object should be essentially everything that an integrator would need to know about a user. What balances they are, what's their device is, how many wallets. So if they had multiple wallets registered, all those wallets would show up in this user object. And yeah, and context
So-
is what wallet they're using at a specific time, and what blockchains they have enabled for use. Yeah.
Gotcha. So a user has many wallets, has many pub keys. Is that
Every pub key will be tagged with a context, and there will be a current context. But yeah, you'll be able to filter by context and say, hey, they don't have a Bitcoin address on their MetaMask wallet, but they do have a Bitcoin address on their key. So when you filter by the symbol or the blockchain, you'll be able to know what wallet to send to. This should make things like Thor swap and other protocols that they interact with both MetaMask and keys. You'll be able to register them both at the same time, and for instance, do a swap for like ETH on your MetaMask for Bitcoin on your key. The goal is to make an SDK that makes that kind of stuff real easy. Or if you want to register a Kepler in here, you can have all those wallets registered. Yeah.
cool? So as far as like the app there, it looks pretty much identical to the web v2 that we have up.
Yep.
That's an Electron app. So is it the same web, or what went into getting that to run standalone as an Electron app?
So I have a link that I sent to Nick that has a diff, and we can skim over that real quickly.
I could see that being useful on its own. So the wallet stuff's obviously the big story, but it might be a cool option to be able to just have have an icon or an app there that launches the platform locally in an Electron app.
Yeah, so this bridge transport could get added to the app with just swapping out the HID transport for the TCP transport, and that should be a one-line change to app to let the current V2 app talk to the key client. If you wanted to, it would also be possible if we wanted to put the effort to have one repo run both the key client and the web. So if you look at the diff, there's about 1,300 lines different. And a lot of that is like the Swagger spec. And this main piece that's different is there's an Electron folder in here. So this main.js is the actual client. So what we can do is in this main client, there's a IPC, and any data or services or any software integration that we want to do with the app to this main process, we can do IPC to the renderer process. So the renderer process is identical to the actual app. And then anything that we want to expose to the API, we can pass through on these IPCs. So it's IPC renderer, IPC main, and it's all event-based. So we can do things like push transactions, push events, query data. This IPC is really powerful, and anything that we want that we build into the app, we can expose over this developer API. And yeah, my goal would be to long-term really put all the tools that any integrator would need into this spec. So over time, the spec could really grow and have things like NFTs, have things like swaps. And if you were, say, a game developer and you wanted to put an NFT store, or if you were just a Thor swap and wanted to do multiple protocol swaps, this endpoint can be very powerful. And anything that's in Unchained or data, we can really do anything we want in here. and really just bring tools to the developers that they need.
Sweet. I think I asked you this the other day. So the UI Electron process and the like bridge web server are one process right now, but they in theory could probably be two. And if you're building your own game platform or something and need a wallet, you could just run the wallet interface and like present them with the modals to sign and verify addresses and that. And
So only well, they're kind of coupled to where this is all when a user installs the application, they're installing a signed and notarized application specifically from the App Store. It seems like the best UX to install this thing really is we got to get in the Apple App Store. And on Windows, on the Windows Store, I think Windows is a little bit lighter, but even on Linux, that we should really be signed. But only the sign endpoint brings up that sign modal. Anybody that just wants to connect and use the bridge, for instance, beta.shapeshift, this will sign and interact with the keep key totally headless. This could be totally minimized, and it will never, nothing in the client will pop up if you're using the bridge directly. So a lot of like low-level integrations will want to use HD Wallet, and HD Wallet you just swap out the transport for TCP, and some low-level integrator could just fully integrate HD Wallet. Very similar to if the web app wanted to use it.
Yeah, if you got your own UX, then you don't need the modals in that.
Yeah.
Is what you're
Then
saying.
all you'd want to do is talk to the device. And this device bridge is identical to bringing in that the web USB transport. It's just transport.tcp, and everything in HD Wallet from that point on is totally identical.
Very cool. The conflicting tab stuff got me excited all on its own. It's fun when you got 50 tabs open and you're trying to test an app or use some interface and it can't claim, and you gotta either abandon all the tabs and hopefully you didn't have something in there important, or go hunt through them for the one that has a USB logo on it and kill it.
Totally. I don't know if I broke it or what, but it's something that's loading right now.
Well, it's a demo. We needed you to do it. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. I was fully working just earlier today. But yeah, any questions from anybody but Adam?
I don't know. That's a spinner on beta. You get that off the screen. Yeah, I might have work to do. Yeah, who's got questions or comments?
I had one.
Mills.
What's up, Mills?
Hey, what's up? Is HID possible, or web HID, with this type of Electron application? Because I know that would be great for Windows users, especially.
Yeah. So hopefully we don't even need web HID. My goal with Keep Key is to go backward. I want to go back to support fully traditional HID drivers. Because this main process is an Electron app, we have full OS bindings. So when these USB transports are very new and cutting edge, and you're aware of this, not very reliable. If you just go onto any Ledger integration forums, and probably one of the largest things holding up hardware wallet integrations in the entire crypto space as a whole, is the unreliable and ever-changing nature of web USB transports. Trezor started as a bridge, but even they decided that, hey, we can't really control this, and they ended up using what's Trezor Connect. So if you were, say, using Trezor right now, there's three separate large scale applications that all have to talk together. One is that web USB provider, the other is the window object, and the third is tracerconnect.com. All three of those services all have to update in unison, and if any of them update and break things, it's a lot of moving parts and really easy for things to break. But yeah, my goal with this is we can bind directly to the operating system, go back to traditional HID drivers that have broad support on all operating systems and are very, very reliable. And then the way the bridge talks to the keep key right now is web USB, which is kind of silly. It's a node process using web USB to talk to the keep key. We could just as easily be doing traditional HID or even web HID. That actual transport in the electron process is totally interchangeable. And the goal is at that point to really lock it down and get that as reliable as possible.
Awesome.
Who else got questions?
Just a quick comment. Looks great, Islander. I love the direction that you're taking this project and all the work you're putting into it. Looks like it'll be a great tool to have going forward for a lot of projects.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Yeah, that's all I got.
Thank you, Highlander. Appreciate it.
Hey, I had one more question if I could toss it into you, Highlander.
Yeah,
Sure.
Hi. I asked it in the chat, but I don't know if anyone's monitoring that. Is this going to affect any of like the list of assets that KeepKey can manage by kind of going backwards and simplifying the connection?
That is an amazing question that I totally spaced off. So this sign process, so this sign modal will allow integrators. So like right now, KeepKey has support for a lot of assets, a lot more assets than is supported on the current platform. And that also means KeepKey, the device, supports a ton more assets than the current KeepKey, quote unquote, KeepKey client does. However, this sign modal and the sign API and the firmware and that entire process from the API to the signing over the transport will support all assets supported by the KeepKey. So that means right now with this, you can integrate things like FIOS and EO and other EVM chains and BNB and every asset that is supported by the KeepKey. People can use this SDK and other integrators can start adding assets on their site on whatever blockchain they want with broad support for everything supported by the KeepKey with this currently. That will also mean that when we want to add new assets, this will be the tip of the spear. New assets that get supported in HD Wallet will get added into KeepKey, and we will be able to bring developers preview and early access to new assets first through the KeepKey client way before we're done and shipped things out to the full web platform. So this is absolutely part of my plan to get us to support as many assets as possible and to leverage the developer community and for KeepKey itself only to be doing the low-level actions and getting other developers that want to work on lots and lots of broad blockchains to start building on us early and to do that in a essentially headless way. So that was a very good question. Thank you, Megan.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you for that. Cool. So if there aren't any other questions, I think we might have some ENS stuff to demo. Ocean and Gomez, I heard a little chatter.
Heck yeah, let's do it. I don't know if we've introduced Gomez to the broader community yet. I'll just do that real quick in case we haven't. But Gomez was a bounty hunter who did some really great work and is now joining the work stream as a part-time work stream member, I guess. And yeah, just really wonderful to have him be a part of what we're working on. So I'm going to share my screen and let Gomez talk about what he did.
That sounds good. GM, can you all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear.
So let me switch to your screen. And yeah, I can see it. All right. So yeah, to give you all some context, Ocean actually had created some bounded issue for adding support for ENS, like addresses, lookups, and reverse lookups across the whole application, right? So that basically means that everywhere that you can have an address, like for instance, on your text history, when you're trying to send some ERC20 or ETH to any address, basically would always show you some ENS instead. Similarly, like if you receive, if you try to send, sorry, to some ENS name, then that should work, and under the hood, it will translate to some ENS, sorry, to some address. Yeah. So yeah, I'll let you connect with your account that has some ENS name, Ocean.
So if you guys remember, previously we had no identifiers up here for the connected wallet, which was a huge friction point, I think, for people that use multiple wallets. So not only do we have it now, but due to Gomez's work, it's got this awesome, shows up my ENS name there as well.
Yeah, so yeah, starting from the recent transactions, yeah, if you have one that's from some ENS.
Received should be another from, all from, huh?
I think you had one during the operations testing that was from ENS. Should be one of these.
I think where I would be able to find it. Well, we could show it in the send modal.
Yeah, I mean it's all the same idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
So same model.
So like
send model. Yeah, you have a bit more logic here, so you can try it send to anyone. Willy Wonka, ETH, Vito, ETH, anyone really? Yeah, to yourself. And yeah, so under the hood, that actually just translated to the underlying address because like Web3 providers, Metamask, there's like doesn't really support ENS. And yeah, so here like it shows you send to so the ENS name. And actually, if you click on confirm, you'll have MetaMask pop-up that will show up with the address. I think you're just showing one window here.
yeah, I am. And Highlander, do you mind muting your mic? Just some typing noise in the background. Thank you so much. Yeah, so let me hold on, share the MetaMask also. Hopefully, yeah, I think that worked. So the transaction is populated then with the DNS address also, which is awesome. Gomez, did we lose you?
Exactly. Yeah. So if you come back to the main window here. And yeah, basically that also spans across the trader history, which in this case I can't really see, right? But you also have ENS in case you receive from some TX from an address that's that actually resolved to some name. And if you just if you have a transactions where you send to an address that has ENS, you will also see it in place of the from and to. Also, there's one more actually that you can show if you go to receive. So that's ERC20. Yeah, exactly. So here, since Ocean has some ENS address, ENS name, here that shows up as an informative way to say that, okay, this is my ENS. And of course, you still have the regular address on there. So yeah, that's that for ENS. Also, I would like to add one more thing. There has been one more improvement on this one by Amitesh. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. On the wallet identifiers on the top right that was implemented recently. Yeah, you also have the ENS implemented. And yeah, so if you connect your MetaMask where your current account has some ENS name registered, you'll see it here as an identifier in place of the ETH address. So that's one more place where this is now enabled. And I think that wraps it up with this additional one.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for going through that. And Amitaj, yeah, thank you. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name either, but thanks also for the work to get this up here. I think this is all really great usability improvements across the application.
Yeah, got to agree. Apparently, Willie's done a good job burning his name into people's heads. Gomez rattled that one off the top of his head.
The Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
But it's quite rememberable, yeah.
Questions?
That's awesome. Willie's had a lot of practice getting people to send him ETH.
Well, I do have a question, and by the way, I'm mills.eth. So if you ever want to send me some funds, it's my username on Discord.
With an S or a Z?
With a Z. So yeah, don't send it to the other one because that guy took it first. But jokes aside, are ENS names case sensitive?
Shouldn't be. No, that's basically the same specification as like the regular
Like
domain names
DNS.
and yeah.
Okay, I was under the impression that they were case sensitive, so I was just wondering if it mattered if like the first letter was uppercase or not. But yeah, I guess you answered my question. Thank you.
Yeah, I just populated that transaction through to Metamask, and it translates to the same, resolves to the same address as the lowercase mills.eth.
And 2.86 bucks for $30 to $36.
Money.
Mainnet.
Gomez, didn't you also fix this too? We have this nice error message now when we close the MetaMask transaction window.
Yeah, so now it will inform you exactly on which asset has failed and like the reason why. Well, it's kind of optimistic, right, in telling you that you have rejected the transaction. But since all of the other logic is handled in the right places, it's quite reliable in telling you that yeah, you have rejected it.
Awesome. Yes, I think that's everything here. But yeah, just again, thanks for the contributions from all of the bounty hunters that have been working so hard on the application. We've had a lot of really great contributors and a lot of great features. Amitaj, Gomez, I'm trying to think if there's anyone else here that's been hacking on the application with us. Not seeing anyone else in the list, but we really appreciate all of your efforts and excited to keep working with everyone.
Yeah, it was pretty huge having Gomez here participate in the demo. Is sort of a demo of your team building, primarily your team building efforts, Ocean. Thank you for that. Thank you, Gomez. We're glad you're here. Hit the ground running. So, unless there's any surprises, Mr. Nerd,
I got one.
Here? Yeah, look at that, amazing.
Yeah, I know, right? I love screwing with your scheduling. This is only like this is gonna be like a 3-minute demo, but
No, that's great. I appreciate it.
so
on Mr. Nerd Hair.
The governance revisions ran up against a character limit on, I guess it was on Snapshot, not Boardroom. But anyway, the point is that we needed an easy way to have people write things that were long enough to express what they wanted and also put it in a proposal. The obvious way to do that is to create a link to something. The important part there is that you need to make a link to a thing that's going to be like the same forever, because people need to be able to look up the governance process and be like, aha, I see that we voted for X, not Y, right? So to do that, you can pin a file to IPFS. Once the file's on IPFS, you can retrieve it by its content ID, which is a hash of the file. So a link to a particular file on IPFS will always be referring to that file. Nobody can rug pull you and switch it out for something later or edit it and be like, see, you voted for that. The problem is that despite the fact that IPFS has wide support and is sort of the de facto standard for these sorts of things, there doesn't seem to be a nice, easy way to upload a file to IPFS, like in your browser, without having to create an account for no particular reason. So I cooked this thing up. I'm hoping to use this particular demo slot to solicit some of our front end people to help me dress this up a bit. But this website is, of course, hosted on IPFS because, wouldn't make any sense otherwise. And you can select the file, drop the thing in there, press the button, and you get a link. And then that's it. And you can click the link. Wait, I never hit the screen share button, did I?
No, we see it.
Yeah, we
Okay,
see
okay,
it.
good. I was afraid I was it was that'd be funny. Anyway, once you make an IPFS link, the IPFS gateway has to cache the file. It can take, call it 10-15 seconds or whatever to load the link after you've pinned it. But this link will always refer to that particular file, and it's safe to use in something like a governance proposal. You can also, there are a couple alternate forms to the link. I might, expand this in the future to include stuff like that. As an example here, you can take that bit and you can use it as a subdomain. Or at least you can if, oh, right, yeah. You have to put .ipfs. See, this is a good reason to have a tool for this stuff. Anyway, that leaks what you're viewing to your ISP, but it provides cross-origin isolation, which might be convenient in some circumstances. There, see, now that it's preloaded into everybody's cache, you can see that the file that we uploaded is being displayed properly in both of the link formats. So that's how you can put files on IPFS. These are intended to be short-term pins. If you put a IPFS link in a governance proposal, I can guarantee you many people will pin that link. If you upload files for your personal project or whatever, well, when this service runs out of storage, it will unpin, the old stuff. And, the goal is to get you over the initial hump of needing to be able to have the file distributed to a bunch of people that can then say, I like that, I'm going to pin it. So that's pretty much it. You can use this if you want. It's at foxpen.xyz. Unfortunately, foxp.in is taken by somebody who just squats on short domains. So, oh well. And if any front end people want to help me make it look better, I am totally open to that.
Sweet. This is awesome. You got your own like pet projects, self-motivated, always bringing these neat little surprises.
Well, so backstory, I suggested the IPFS solution to governance people, and I was like, hey, we should just write some docs for this. And apparently I didn't specifically specify who should write the docs. I wasn't thinking me, but everyone else thought me. And so like on Saturday, somebody's like, hey, where are those docs? I'm like, oh shit. So I go off to write the docs. And then I'm like, this is hard. It's easier to write a tool than write the docs. So I wrote a tool instead.
I can certainly empathize with that feeling. Much more fun to write tools than just documentation.
Just for background, it uses Pinata on the back end. There's a Pinata API key that you literally get when you load the page. You can see there. That Pinata API key is only good for pinning things, not for like listing things that other people have pinned. So that's nice. But this key gets rotated on a regular basis, and so if you do upload stuff in this system, I mean, you're making it public. That's the whole point of IPFS. So it's going to get manually reviewed by me probably. So anyway,
questions for Mr. Nerdhair?
I got one piece of advice. If you make this all pretty, do not make it look like FoxScript.
wait, so specifically why?
Because what would happen? What would happen if I accidentally put a password in that?
Yes. Okay.
In your
Okay.
private
Good
key.
point. I did actually. I thought about stealing some of the FoxScript assets and prettying it up myself, and then I thought, maybe that wouldn't be the best idea.
So you were actually going to take the FoxScript layout. You were going to set it up, man. Then I'll probably have a brain fart one day and put my password in there.
Oh, and just if anybody's wondering where the repo for this is, it's not. There's no repo. It's a single file. It's on IPFS. It's at that thing. Just download it. It's right here. I did it in a text editor. It's, screw all this compiling SDKs and NPM requires and all that crap. Notepad for life.
Make the web look like a newspaper.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
That's about it for this.
Yeah, so that should wrap us up, I think. Mr. Nerdhair, you can't say, wait, I got another one.
Nope, I don't.
Actually, you could. Cool. Well, thank you, everyone. Special thanks to everyone that presented today. It was actually a really great demo. I'd never leave disappointed. So thank you all. It's really a testament to the work we've put in and the great attitudes and motivation and everything we've put together here with our engineering crew. Thank you all. I appreciate it every day. Thank you everyone for coming.